Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fully Charged Show podcast. Now, normally we record these in many different ways, either face-to-face or in a studio or in online. That's a very common way of doing it now, but this one is slightly different, and I just thought it's worth explaining that. This episode is, the guest is the fabulous and wonderful Elliot Richards, who was in the UK for the Everything Electric show that we did at Farnborough. But then the following week, I gave him a lift to the airport because he was flying back to Shanghai via Switzerland, as you do. Anyway, so we had a nice talk it was like a great way of catching up while we were driving. We were in the MG Cyberster, which was, in some ways challenging, but we managed to get there safely. And it was great fun. And of course, Elliot is such an absolute a treasure trove of information about China and what's happening in China and the car industry in China and all the big impact they're having. From every aspect of that extraordinary country. And, he's lived there for now 15 years, I think. So he knows it well. So it is a really interesting conversation. That's all I have to say about it, just to explain. That's how. So if you hear a bit of wind noise and a bit of noisy stuff, that's because we're in a car. But I think it's fairly audible. That's really all. The only thing I would love to say right at the top is, do tell your friends about this podcast. Do subscribe if you haven't already. There's some amazing guests coming up we know about, and that's basically it. Let's dive straight in. Well, we don't dive in, we'll get in to the MG Cyberster and welcome Elliot Richards. This episode of the Fully Charged podcast is brought to you by OVO's Charge Anywhere. Charge Anywhere helps you power your car wherever you are, plan your route and pay. You'll have access to over 34,000 chargers across the UK's largest charging networks and more than 400,000 chargers across Europe. Setup is easy. Just download the OVO Charge app, create your account, add payment details, hit the road and start charging. There's no need to be an OVO customer either. Simply pay as you go or benefit from up to 15% off your charging with monthly boost packages. OVO's Charge Anywhere. Power your next journey with peace of mind. I'm sitting in the MG Cyberster with Elliot Richards, and we are driving to a really high-level luxury lunch.
Completely, yeah.
At a supermarket cafe.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll. That's how we have meetings in the corporate world of the Fully Charged Show. So I'm going to close my door, which I do by pressing that button.
And I'll close mine as well. That's a bit swish, isn't it?
I've got used to them, I had to get in my daughter's car, my old Nissan Leaf, this morning to move it. It's weird. You have to open
normal doors.
Oh, I was pressing the key. Nothing happened. It just unlocked.
Terrible.
Hopeless.
Do people look at you when you open these doors?
A little bit.
Do you like it?
I got a look of what a the other day. For sure. Yeah. Yes. No, that is the embarrassing bit.
You haven't driven with the roof down then?
No. It's so unfair. The first time in my life I've had access for more than 10 minutes to an open top car, and it has whizzled with rain ever since
I think when we roll up, we have to let it go down for a bit.
Okay. Yeah, because you've got the right headgear, and I've got a peak cap, which will just blow off. But the other thing that I was impressed with is, well, there's a couple of things I like about it, which I know other cars will have, but it's kept a record of how much electricity I've gained from regen.
Oh, okay.
5.2 kilowatt hours.
That's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot over, what have I done, basically 75 miles. So it's like 14 or 15 miles of range.
That's quite good.
For nothing.
Let me go that way.
Yeah. For nothing, I say.
For nothing.
Free extra energy. Well, no, you did use it first.
And have you had a heavy right foot, or?
No, I've been quite careful today, but I've still only got 3.3 miles to the kilowatt hour.
Okay.
So it's not.
The best.
If I'd driven the same as I'd do in the MG4, I would have got 5 and a bit miles to the kilowatt hour. I know that car well enough to know, even in this weather. There's a lovely automatic cruise control switch. This one. doesn't do anything today. I don't think I've touched anything or changed anything. It's always worked really well.
It's just decided to
Just gone, no, you've got to do a long drive in a motorway. It's better you use your right foot all the time. Well, no.
What a rest.
Why? Why? It's worked so well. It's been so easy to choose.
I think that's the issue with some of these Chinese cars coming to this country, is that they're made
software.
very well for the Chinese market.
Right.
And then overseas is
They're all a bit
of an
bitchy.
afterthought.
I mean,
yeah.
the lane keeping, it still does it a bit, and it bings and tings and bops and
What's it
bips
binging at? What have you done
That's
wrong?
speed. That's
Oh.
I went to, almost 30.1.
Oh dear, you
And it
can't
went
do
over,
that.
yeah. I definitely wasn't doing 45. I was doing 30.0001, officer. Yeah, I register on my speedometer, sir. And I
So
can
it
tell.
bings at you if you go over the
It
speed?
tings at you if you go over the speed limit. It bings at you for 100 other errors.
Oh dear.
It tells you to concentrate in a very polite voice sometimes.
Actually, it speaks to you?
Yes.
Oh dear.
So, Elliot, just do a thing of you're in the UK at the moment.
Yes.
And have you been with your folks? Is that where you've been seeing your?
Yeah, basically
your
been with
mum?
my parents'
Right.
parents' house. Not seen them in about 6 months, so
Right.
thought I'd better head there. And
But then you went to Did you go to Newcastle? For
Yeah, I went to
reals?
Newcastle after everything electric. That was a 6-hour drive.
Well, wait a minute. When we left,
Yes. I drove for 6 hours to go see my friend.
oh my god,
in
because I was
Newcastle.
pretty tired. I drove for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
And I
I
thought,
was-
I'm really hardcore.
About 10 o'clock, I was getting a bit
Oh,
tired, but yeah, it was good. Beautiful weather up there yesterday.
oh, you're kidding?
No.
It's been like this constantly here. It's been miserable as sin.
It was stunning. Like, they've got a beautiful coastline up there, so went for a hike.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So then when did you come back? Yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
So you were only there one night?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So my parents just think of me as a lodger.
Yeah, who just passes through.
Yeah. Doesn't pay for anything.
Doesn't pay for anything.
Just asks for cups of tea.
Cups of tea and then complains if it's not, if
Yeah,
the toast
exactly.
isn't right.
Exactly. So yeah, and then I'm off to Geneva tomorrow morning,
Right. Wow.
and then back to Shanghai next
Oh,
week.
so you'll fly direct back from,
yeah,
from
yeah.
Geneva, right.
Yeah. So
And that's a conference that's to do with your
My day job, yeah,
Your
yeah.
day job. I
Yeah.
like a day job. I'd quite like a day job. I've never had one.
I think
I
after,
suppose I have sort of. But,
after about 2 weeks, you might not enjoy
Yes.
it so much.
but do you get just indulge me in this? Do you get things like holiday pay?
Yes,
'Cause
yeah,
I've
yeah. of
never
course.
had a job ever in my life where I've had holiday pay.
Never had holiday
No,
pay.
No. And I've always fantasized about it. So you go on holiday and they still give you money.
Yeah.
You know, it's, like, it's pathetic. For me, it's like my fantasy. Well, I guess I've really always been self-employed in one form or another. So it's just never been a thing.
No. Yeah, so I suppose that's one perk of having a day job.
That's a perk. But then for folks that don't know, I can't imagine there's going to be many watching this, that you make amazing programs for us in China.
That's
about
right.
Chinese, not just about the cars.
No.
Because you've done trains and bikes and other things.
Factories.
Factories.
Yes.
Oh,
Those are the most exciting
yeah,
ones
I
for
know.
me.
Well, aren't they? I think they are. Because people think, oh, you're so lucky you get to drive all these cars. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But the factories, all the little fellas moving around.
Yeah, I think, you know, when we did the first BYD factory tour,
Yeah.
they don't really do that anymore.
Right.
And I think back then, I don't think even we realised how big a deal BYD was going to become.
No.
It's out that they've invited us to the factory to have a look around.
Yeah, this little Chinese company
Yes.
that made the batteries in your phone.
Yeah, and they might send a few cars over to the UK one day, but and
Yeah,
the
I guess
amount
even then, because it's only a few years ago you did that, wasn't it?
2021, I think it was.
Right.
And we were like, oh, it's nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll record that. I think it's got close to 1 million views,
Right, yeah.
but I never knew. Like, so many people come up to me and say, "Oh, we loved your BYD factory video or the factory."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And no
Wow.
one's really been allowed to go back in since then.
Right.
So we're very lucky to
Yeah.
have caught that moment in time before BYD got absolutely massive.
Yes. And I guess the layers of bureaucracy you'd have to go through to get permission would now be impenetrable.
much more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same with the CATL factory. That was fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, all access. There's only like 2 things we weren't allowed to film.
Right.
It's one part of the process where they wrap up the battery.
Right.
Not very interesting. And one other part. But they said, yeah, off you go.
But the great thing is that we think, oh, that's just wrapping up the battery. That's not very interesting. Every other battery manufacturer would
Yes.
literally give a kidney to know how they do it, at the speed they do it and at the volume they do it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I do lots of videos like that across in China. And hopefully lots more to come soon. I mean, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
But in fact, they're actually launching models in the UK and Europe before they launched them in China. So there's a big ute. It's a hybrid ute, the BYD Shark. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think I have, but I think I've seen someone. There's a guy in New Zealand, and I'm going to.
Gavin.
Yes.
Yeah. He's driven it. So,
he's driven it.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
So I've got it right. Okay.
He released the video, I think, past few days. That's not coming out in China. We can't get access to that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's
So they're actually making it in China, but not selling it in China.
correct.
That's the first I've heard of that. Is that a first? I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything else. Yeah.
But that's likely. I think they're likely to build that in other factories around the world.
Right. But that is built as a hybrid. Is that it's not a range extender, it's a proper mechanical drive hybrid? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Right. But it's plug-in hybrid though.
Plug-in hybrid.
Right.
It's 20,000 Australian dollars less than the nearest Ford Ranger,
Right.
which is a petrol pickup.
But basically it's cheaper than any other pickup of its size.
And it's got about 38% more range, or it's 20% more affordable, and
Right.
yeah. So that's the market that
Yeah.
Ford and GM have to worry about.
And in Australia, that's going to be Australia and New Zealand, very popular. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not quite as pickup mad as
America,
USA, but there's
no.
a hell of a lot of them there. And I mean, I noticed that last time I was there. Massive increase in electric vehicles, very impressive, but also massive increase in massive pickups. The really stupid, big butch boy ones, which is heartbreaking, really, because
They're just a waste of space, aren't
Yeah.
they?
I mean, I think there is definitely a move that sort of criticises them that goes beyond the EV bubble. It's people just going, these are dangerous, stupid things. Why have you got one of these? There's a sort of shame thing, but I mean that might make people just dig in and go, I want an even bigger one.
I want a Cybertruck.
Yeah. Cybertrucks look quite normal, but I mean, I don't know. There's a Dodge one that the front of it is definitely the size of the front of our house. It's just mind-bogglingly enormous.
Like comes up to about my eyes.
I think it's about 5 feet tall, so over a metre high, the front, and it's a big flat lump of metal.
It is so dangerous, isn't it? I do wonder what's going to happen with the US auto market with 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs or Chinese cars.
Well, it is, I mean, I do think, because I wanted to talk about tariffs, because they were a topic over. I think we should also explain we're doing this literally a couple of days after we did.
That's right.
Everything Electric South, which the only thing that's wrong with that. With that particular title for me is Where's Everything Electric North, which of course I was asked a lot by people from the north of England, because we haven't done one in the north this year.
Okay.
Which is a shame, but we will do again, I'm sure. But a lot of discussion about tariffs, and I couldn't hear, the only person with the least criticism who just shrugged them off was Bono G from BYD. And he said, well, we're building factories in Europe, so we don't really care. And I mean, he didn't seem to be bothered about the American market, whatever. We've got plenty of other stuff to do. So he wasn't that upset, but you are critical of it. Greg Jackson from Octopus, I think that's what's weird about it, is business people know it's counterproductive and fires back against you. All the bosses of all the big car companies.
I think even German government says they don't really want it as well. And I think Mercedes and BMW have come out and said they don't want it.
They don't want it. Well, they sell. I mean, I don't know about Mercedes, but I know BMW. It's around a third of their production from Europe is sold in China.
Yeah,
which kind of gives you the idea that maybe it's guys, if you thought they might do the same back.
Yes. I mean, the only retaliation, I'll use that word, that they've had so far is they've put import tariffs on European brandy coming into China.
Right.
That's the only thing they've done so far. But I mean, seriously, it just stifles innovation, especially in the US.
Yeah.
Because they've got no pressure now.
Right.
No pressure to electrify, because there's only really 3 or 4 big major companies there. They've got no competition to make smaller vehicles.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, you accept what GM and Ford and that's it really.
Yeah.
Tesla maybe, that's what they bring to the market, or that's it.
Yeah.
I think companies like BYD, there's another 190 countries that they can enter. So why worry about the US? They can do that last, or do that in 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And by then, Ford and GM will be so uncompetitive that it's even worse.
Yeah.
You're just delaying the pain for later.
I mean, I don't know about. I mean, in our Vancouver show, what was interesting was the Ford and GM stands were huge, and had a lot of stuff. So GM are making a wide range of electric cars, not, you know, from ridiculous sort of sedan monster luxury things to reasonable, sensible electric cars. And the Ford F-150, the guy that was running the stand in Vancouver said, I wish we'd bought 20 more trucks because we could have. We just could not supply the test drives. Everyone wanted to have a go in it.
Oh my word!
You know, it was them and Rivian, but Rivian did have the whole place was full of Rivian trucks. So I got to go in a Rivian. I still haven't had to go in an F-150, but I did have a go in the Hummer. Just made me laugh. I mean, if you want to make someone happy and smile and laugh in a vehicle, Hummer have absolutely nailed it. If you want a vehicle that is in any way arguably sustainable, sensible,
it's not that, is it?
It's not that. It's a monstrous, I don't know what it is, 3.5 ton, 200 kilowatt hour battery.
Ridiculous. Were people on the streets laughing at you as well?
They were kind of staring like, oh, there are some sad people in the world. Why would they drive that bloody thing? You know, there wasn't, I mean, it was a very short test drive. But what the great thing was, there were speed bumps, and I saw the car in front go, fudun, fudun, you know, like they do.
You just went...
And then it just went, I didn't even, that was about as much noise as it made. Couldn't feel, and then I looked in the rearview mirror, and the speed bumps were flat.
Oh, gosh.
It crushed them into the road. No, it was a ridiculous thing, but it has got a roof that comes off.
Has it?
Yeah, which this has. And look, it's not raining over there, and this is the first time it hasn't absolutely been slashing down with rain since I left. So we could get the roof off.
Could do. We need to be going a bit slower, don't we?
Yeah, we can't take it off at this speed, no. But, no.
Let's not try.
I bet we get a lot of hits if we did, as the roof just flailed off into the back of the... So the other things that we talked about on stage, which I thought was interesting, were all the other... Well, I think apart from the cars, it's the way that China, in a way, is a kind of beacon of what can be achieved.
Yes.
But you kind of do need, to do it as quickly as they have, you kind of need a slightly different form of government than we have in Europe and the USA. I think USA will catch up very quickly. I predict a dictatorial regime and no more elections in America in a few weeks.
Well, that could happen, couldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the good thing about the government is there is only one government, and if they make plans, they can execute those plans because there isn't a change of
and there isn't really anyone publicly saying we shouldn't put wind turbines on that hill.
No, or I don't want this bullet train
going through my village.
It's like, well, it's for the better of the nation.
Of the nation as a whole.
Yeah, and what they've been able to do with that is bring 500 million people out of poverty in 30
that is
years.
Incredible. Because even in your lifetime, but certainly in my lifetime, the suffering in China of the Cultural Revolution, of those early parts of the Chinese Revolution, were pretty brutal in terms of loss of life.
Yeah,
I mean, horrendous stuff. And I'm talking like 1950s, 60s. Really pre-Cultural Revolution was.
And it was a very challenging time, but so even my parents-in-law, were part of that.
Right. They lived through that.
They were living through that. Having not a lot of food, and then all of a sudden, country opened up.
Yeah.
They started their own business, got very successful, sold the business. So that's all happened, in 30 years.
The last 35 years where it's really started to change. Yeah. And I mean, the development in that time is mind-boggling, isn't it? I mean,
I think when I got there in 2008, there was no bullet trains at all. There were no high-speed trains.
Wow. Oh, they've actually built those in that time?
Yeah.
What?
Since, I think it was about 2011. Wow. They started with the first line, about 100 kilometres. And since then, it's obviously now the biggest.
Just got to get in front of him, sorry, because I've got to turn off. I'm turning off here, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yes. And
that's incredible, though, because I mean, that isn't. I can understand building a bullet train, as in the train, in that time. But the tracks, which are probably thousands of kilometres of it. I mean, I would imagine
many thousands of kilometres.
Oh my God.
And they're some of the fastest trains in the world now. So they've been able to apply that strategy to everything they do, and they've actually got an industrial strategy. Imagine that.
Right.
That they can then execute over a long period of time. So I think Roger talks about this a lot. The Made in China 2025 strategy, which they brought in 2015, which basically said, well, we can't compete making ICE cars.
Right.
We want to, spur on our automotive industry. We can't compete with the likes of Mercedes and BMW who've got 100 years of history.
Yeah.
So let's do electric vehicles. And so then since 2015, there's been subsidies and, you can build a factory here, government support, you can set up a battery factory, etc. All that time. And so whilst, BMW and Mercedes have been very happy to sell petrol cars.
Yeah, like the one that just overtook us, the classic one, isn't it?
Very expensive one.
Yeah.
Because, it's the Chinese market, they'll always accept our brilliant premium products.
Yeah.
Well, they're now finding out that they're not so luxury anymore, and people don't want big petrol, fast estates like that.
Yeah.
They want electric cars. And so you've got tech companies now jumping into the fray. We always heard about Apple.
Going to do a car, yeah.
Yeah, going to do a car for so many years.
Yeah.
And then they didn't because it's probably too difficult. So instead you've got companies like Huawei who have bought their own car out. Xiaomi, they make phones.
They make phones,
kettles and air conditioning units.
Right.
Have now got their own car, which has been extremely successful.
Wow. So they haven't brought out a rubbish car, which is sort of what you half expect. We normally make a kettle, here's our car. Oh, right. So it's a car which also boils water. No, but it's in real. But then they've got to have. There's now got to be an indigenous Chinese skill base of designers, of engineers, of which there probably wasn't 25 years ago.
No.
And everyone I've met, not everyone, a hell of a lot of people I've met who are in the automotive industry in this country have worked in China.
Yes.
They've all had an amazing gig working with BYD, with NIO, with all those companies.
And that was the plan. So to set up a company in China, an automotive company in China, you had to set up a joint venture.
Right.
With a Chinese automaker, so 50-50 split.
Right.
So like Jaguar Land Rover went with Chery, BMW went with Brilliance, who've now gone bust. They've all got joint ventures. So that way they could learn, some people would say steal, but you could learn the technology from these more mature car companies.
Yeah.
Tesla was the first car company which could open in China without doing a joint venture. So that's when they built their factory in Shanghai.
Yeah, how did they wangle that then? I suppose because they only made electric cars?
Yeah, they only made electric cars. Yeah. I think it was time.
Yeah.
There's no need for them to form a joint venture. And then, so that factory's just built its 3 millionth car.
That is incredible. Because how old is that factory? 5 years?
Less than 5 years old.
Yeah. Gee, that's unbelievable. Because when you think, I remember seeing pictures of sort of the millionth Morris Minor.
Yes.
That was at a factory that was built in 1911, and they finally kind of cranked out the millionth Morris Minor. They've made 3 million in probably about 4.5, 5 years.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and what they're finding now is that, people don't want to buy the BMW because, well, it just doesn't have that status anymore. You want to buy a Yangwang from BYD because
it's faster and better, cooler, and got silly things and will turn.
Exactly.
I did a tank turn. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever done in my life.
It's a bit silly.
The tyre companies must love the tank.
Of course, they're delighted. Should we take the roof off?
Christ, yes.
You do the honours.
I think it has to do that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Cool, that's bright.
Yeah, I know. It's the first time I've done it since I've had it. Oh my God, it's off. Now I can't look at the sat nav. There's too much going on.
This is
That's
why
quite warm now.
Yeah, it is now.
Wow.
This is why you buy this car.
It's got to be. There's not. Yes. That's the biggest thing of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, if you put your window up, because that does make a difference. Oh, I wonder if can you do? I now need a bit of sunshade up there.
Oh, do you?
No, I need my cap on. But I won't do it.
I don't think we get sunburnt today.
Yeah, I don't think.
In fact, it'll probably start raining in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. That is so funny. I still find it quite amusing that we can just take the roof off.
We can drive in an electric car with the roof off.
With the roof off. Why is that so marvellous? It is though. Well, also I think the only other time I've experienced, and I cannot remember what car it was, but I did drive a convertible 2-seater.
Right.
Of some sort, not the Roadster, a long time ago, and you could put the roof up, but you had to stop and get out and hoik it up. Then when you're inside, you have to hoink it in and pull 2 levers to make it tight. I think it was an MG. I think it was an MGB.
It could have been an MGB.
I think it was.
Look how far they've come.
Yeah. It was worth keeping all those factories in England open. Oh dear.
Oh dear. Well, you say that, but I think with Brexit, we've actually got an opportunity now in the tariffs in Europe.
Well, yeah, no, that is a peculiar. That's the first time I've heard someone mutter Brexit benefit and me go, I mean, yeah, okay, we sort of can see that.
So with all the European tariffs, the UK is now perfectly positioned to potentially have factories.
Have the factory. Well, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But also have access to more cheaper, lighter, smaller electric cars.
So you could have SAIC, set up a factory in the UK again, or
Because one of the most common comments that I see, other than ones telling me how wrong I am about everything on YouTube, are, I wish we could have that in my country from America, and now it might be from France and Germany.
It could be.
Oh, you've got those. They're really good.
Yeah.
And they're half the price of my BMW. But yeah, America, there's so many Americans say, I wish we could have whatever it would be, a smaller BYD, a lighter BYD, instead of a 3.5 ton diesel pickup.
Yeah, not everyone wants pickups, even electric ones.
No.
I do think Rivian have doing that interesting. Is it the R3?
Yes. Oh, that is nice.
You've seen that in real life.
I mean, you just go, why? I mean, what broke my heart about it is, why isn't there the equivalent of an R3 from Tesla at the time? Because the Cybertruck was there and the R3 was there, and you just go, look, I don't want to do any value judgments, but more people would buy the R3 than will ever buy the Cybertruck. And if the Cybertruck does well, that's fine. I've no problem with that. But
it's baffling, really, that they just chose to go down the Cybertruck route rather than the Model 2 route.
And the other interesting thing, I think, is I know that there will be, someone should leave a comment, but I've yet to meet a woman who goes, oh, I really love the Cybertruck. I saw lots of women looking at it at the show last weekend going, why would you have this? Why would you, what is that about? What's wrong with boys that they have to have that? Which is kind of worrying.
Well, I mean, it's probably not something for the podcast, but...
No. Well, but I mean, it isn't. It can't be that obvious. I mean, because the technology in it is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the casting and
all that stuff is really clever, which I think gives me the impression that there are, in a sense, it's like
a test bed?
Well, General Motors 20 years ago, when they made the EV1.
Yes.
The annoying bosses said, "Oh, we've got to make an electric car for California. It's just rubbish." Get their guys to build something, or we'll just fob them off a bit until we can change the law. We're spending billions lobbying the government, but we've got to do it for now. And then they gave it to the engineers, who made a brilliant, really good electric car that people loved. And obviously then the bosses got all the glory. And then the bosses took them all back and crushed them, and introduced the civilian Hummer. Very sensible. That's the basic gist of that story. Well, the boss said, "Draw this. I've drawn this thing with a crayon on some loo roll."
Using a ruler.
I used a ruler, wasn't just freehand. And please make some of these. And they made an amazing car out of I mean, it's a bloody stupid idea. It's a huge waste of space. I shouldn't criticise the Cybertruck, because I don't want to be on one side or the other of it.
Well, I mean, maybe it's a test bed for all of this amazing technology,
Hopefully,
right?
yeah.
So, petrol leaf blower.
That is a brilliant use of the petrol engine have a man going blowing with wind leaves that will then blow back with wind that has come from not petrol.
Yes. It's the most stupid machine.
Stupid machine ever built. A leaf blower.
But anyway. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Elon Musk, but
no, I don't want to talk about it at all.
Potentially, because he doesn't let on to what he's doing most of the time. I mean, this chopstick rocket thing,
stunning.
I mean, it just came out of nowhere, really.
Stunning.
And it's amazing. It just happened the same week that they did that Wii robot thing.
But I can't help thinking that in the, say, 18 months that has been spent developing that, maybe it won't be 18 months, it'll be years, but certainly, let's say the last 18 months, there's no way he's had an enormous input into that, because he's been twattering.
Yes.
And,
but I think potentially maybe early next year they'll announce a Model 2 or something smaller that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Using like the gigacasting, using the same cells, using the same technology as the Cybertruck.
Yeah. Yes.
And it'll just surprise everyone. Say, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
$15,000 or whatever.
Because what about the Robovan, as he called it?
Did he call it Robovan?
The Robovan.
Oh, Robovan. Okay.
And the Robotaxi, or whatever it's called.
I don't know about that. I just think it's a bit of a distraction.
I mean, if you look at their share price, literally the moment it was announced, it plummeted.
Yeah.
Which kind of tells you that the investment community, what do they know? But they sometimes do know quite well.
Yes.
Okay, this is a dumb idea. This is never going to work.
I mean, there is huge commercial potential if you.
I guess so.
The first company to commercialize proper self-driving, like with taxis, buses, and trucks, will be.
Yeah, I mean, buses and trucks I can get, even though, it's rather unfortunate for the people who earn a living driving buses and trucks at the moment. But I mean, I think they would be, I can sort of see the sense in that.
But I think the issue is it's already happening. There's autonomous buses driving around in China with no people in it
already
on the streets.
Yeah.
Yes,
well, there's autonomous taxis in San Francisco and other cities.
Exactly, with no people in them.
Yeah.
And they're commercially driving around. I mean, the thing is, I think that's what's scaring Bill. It's already out there.
Yeah.
Tesla were first to the party, but now they're a little bit behind.
Really, I don't know. It's really.
But I mean, Elon Musk can see what's happening in China with Tesla. I mean, sales are.
So they have gone down.
They have gone down, I think, by 5 or 6% compared to last year. Not a huge amount.
Yeah. And that isn't because electric car. This is the thing people correlate. That's not because electric car sales are down.
No,
electric car sales are up.
They're up,
but they're just other electric cars.
There is so much competition. Yeah. So, and I think the Model 3 Highland wasn't as much of a change as people were expecting. Yeah. And with product cycles in China, that they change so much from model to model,
right?
That you expect so much more, and I think that was just a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
So always interesting times.
Yeah.
I think one company to look out for from China is probably Zeekr.
Yes. They've been around. I know that name.
Yeah.
And they've been around a while, but they're particular models and particular decisions they made about coming to Europe or coming to
UK. So I mean, they were, how long have they been out? So it's a new brand. They're from Geely.
Right.
Well, they were EV only.
Right.
They've just announced their first PHEV.
Right. Which they also, because that was I managed to contain my disappointment when Bono G mentioned that BYD are making plug-in hybrids.
Yes. I mean, it's half their sales. They make 300,000 cars a month, BYD.
Right. And
150,000 of those are hybrid of some sort.
Right. Right.
So, so Zeekr, they've only been around for, gosh, we drove their first model on the Fully Charged show.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're like, oh, okay, it's a nice car. But they've brought out, I think, 5 or 6 models within 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
So yeah, they brought out. I mean, this year they brought out 2 or 3 models, like an SUV, a sedan, and now an MPV, all in 1 year.
Wow.
That is how quick it's going.
Yeah, that is crazy, isn't it?
They brought out. They've got showrooms in Amsterdam now. I don't know about their UK plans. I'm sure it's very soon. Australia is this year or early next year.
Oh, that's good.
They are going gangbusters in every single segment.
But if you think how old the Model 3 is now. I mean, it was revolutionary when it came out. They went through the agony of getting it up to speed and producing enough, nearly went broke, but managed to do it, pulled it off. And they're still doing that, and you're going, guys, if you've got time to do something else. There should be 3 other Tesla models out now.
Exactly. If they're going China speed.
Yeah.
But they're not.
I mean, it must be really hard to go China speed.
Insane, and Chinese workforce works exceptionally hard. They have something called 996. It's kind of this meme on the internet.
Right.
They work from 9 till 9, 6 days a week. Yeah. There's also 997, and I mean it's, and that's typical for tech companies. They get paid a lot of money, But
they're earning deep. If you're doing that, if you're working for a big tech company doing that,
you're earning,
by Chinese standards, you are
you're hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's that much.
Right. So you're actually wealthy.
Yeah.
But
you can't spend the money on anything. You've got no time.
You've really got a massive load of money because you literally you either working or sleeping.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's because I think sometimes I'm a stupid workaholic. I should cut back. I must take time to myself and then I don't think I've ever done. Well, I have. To be fair to me, on the set of Red Dwarf, I've done 4 till 11.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. Get in the makeup chair, but that was back in the 80s.
Okay, till 11 p.m.
Till 11 p.m. when the last bit of makeup would come off,
peeled off your face.
That was, but I was young, I didn't know any. But also, one day a week like that.
Not every single day.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's sustainable either. And with the economy not doing so well in China at the moment.
Yeah, because what is that? I mean, is there? I guess there's massive property problems, isn't there? There's huge property.
Yeah, I mean, property prices have declined a lot over the last 12 months or so, which does suggest that things are not so rosy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you've seen this Chinese push overseas a lot, because sales are still booming, but they need to find more avenues for additional revenue. And overseas markets are crying out for electric cars, more affordable ones. So that's why you're seeing all these cars going overseas. Yeah.
But I mean, their actual export figures for the Chinese economy must be massive.
No, they're still.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, still quite small.
But not in cars. I mean, in general products.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely
huge. Like the Trump Bible. I mean, that's a big seller for them.
Yes.
They're all printed in China.
And the MAGA hats.
And the MAGA hats.
Yeah. In fact, we've got a Biden hat in my office.
Oh, right.
Because one of the suppliers said...
was that made in China?
Yes. He said, we made these hats as well. Oh, great.
It's just incredible, isn't it?
There's, at the moment, it's the Canton Fair, which is a big fair in Guangzhou where people come over from all over the world to find products to export, bikes and everything you can think of.
Right.
Our clothes.
So that isn't like a car, that's like everything.
That's an everything show.
Saucepans,
flashlights, anything you can think of.
Shoes.
But there's no sanctions on China exporting to Russia, so there's a huge push of Chinese cars in Russia. Chery's very big in Russia.
Right. But not electric ones, presumably.
Electric as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They are selling electric cars into Russia?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So I drove a Chery car for export. It had a Russian plug on it. I don't know if they have a slightly different standard. So they said, don't drive it too fast, because if it runs out, we can't charge it again.
Wow.
I was like, okay. And all the stans, like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, they're all importing Chinese cars from China, even with the Chinese system, into their countries.
Right.
Because they just want premium electric cars.
Yeah. But also, I mean, that bodes very badly for Japan, who, we know from personal experience, and also every bit of footage from anywhere around the world. There's loads of Japanese, Toyota pickup trucks, if nothing else.
Yep.
The backbone of international terrorism.
Yes.
But but they've done incredibly well all around the world, and now clearly people aren't buying Toyotas.
No. I think what's interesting is Africa as well, because there's a few people on Twitter and on Threads. A guy called Joey from, is it EV Africa, or I can't remember what he's called.
Oh, right. So I'm now following a few people from various African countries,
jumping over ICE vehicles and going straight to EVs from China. So they're importing the really cheap Woolings, the £3,000 small cars, because they just offer so much. And you see huge taxi fleets now of just Chinese electric cars.
Wow.
For me, that's really exciting.
No, it's an amazing confluence of things. You didn't move to China. I'm going to move to China to study the currently non-existent electric car industry.
Not at all.
But it's happened since you've been there.
Yeah.
And what's wonderful now is that the access you've got because of the shows we've done together and your own shows.
Yeah.
The Chinese companies are going, actually, it's quite useful having him have a look at these things.
Yeah, and that's what's so wonderful. We get to show what is actually happening, away from the headlines, away from the sensationalist Daily Mail articles and things. I say, well, China's, away from politics, is a fairly normal country with normal people.
Yes, just doing normal things. Yeah. But also, I would love to talk about, because that was a thing that Greg Jackson talked about, and you mentioned, was the kind of explosion of renewables. I mean, the only fact I know is, in the last 12 months, China installed the same amount of renewable generation capacity as this country uses at the absolute peak of its consumption. So it's about 62 gigawatts on a winter's day when everybody turns their heating and everything on. That's the most we ever use. You can see it at the National Grid thing. It goes up to about 60. I think we've got a 65 gigawatt peak production. And they put in 61 gigawatts of renewables in 1 year. Yeah. Which is absolutely barking unbelievably huge.
And then what they're probably likely to do is double that by next year, double it again the year after. And so China had 2 goals. So again, back to that state planning, right? They can do really long-term planning. They had 1 goal, I think it was to have peak carbon output by 2030.
Yeah.
I think they've reached that already, and it's already declining.
Right, isn't that amazing? So quite a lot of those things they've set themselves have actually they've
always beat
their
targets. Always beat their targets, because it's the regional governments want to go to the central government and say, we've done it.
Right.
Give us some brownie points or give us some extra money, right? And then they're going to be zero carbon or carbon neutral by 2060, which they're likely to reach in 2045 or something.
Right. Wow.
And that's because of the growth of renewables, solar.
It's solar, wind and batteries. It's that combination.
Exactly.
Which is that was interesting. I didn't even ask BYD Bono about grid batteries. He just started mentioning them. And the two things, one, I brought up the buses, because people don't realise that all those red London double-deckers you go on in London are electric, and they're made in China by BYD.
Yeah, exactly.
That's been a well-known thing. But the investment and the production of different battery chemistry, but massive grid-level batteries, which I've always been sceptical that will really work. It sounds like it's too... I know if you have solar and you have batteries, you have... But actually, what's particularly in Australia, this is happening, that's where I'm following it the most. The electricity companies are supplying 24-hour power from wind and solar and batteries. I mean, they're doing it now.
And they're so quick.
And the problem is they're making so much money. It's such a cheap way of producing them. The initial upfront costs are enormous. The initial upfront costs of building a nuclear power plant or a gas burner are huge. But then you've got to pay for the fuel. They've got this huge upfront cost and free fuel forever. And I think finally capitalism's gone, oh, you mean the fuel's free?
Yeah.
And you didn't tell me that bit.
And there's no clean-up costs.
No.
In fact, you can recycle all those batteries all over again. So.
And the wind turbines and the blades.
Yes.
Very important that we make sure that, it's important that the public know about that and pressurise the companies to make sure they do it. But they are doing it. They're recycling blades now, and they're making them out of different materials.
Yeah. And so I think the growth in that area is probably where the focus will be, because automotive's quite fickle, right? It's trends and
fashion-based and trends.
Subsidies and tariffs and whatever else. The real money is in batteries.
Yeah.
So hopefully next year we'll get you out to China as well.
Yes, well, I'm praying that, because I've never been. I would love to go. I did mention it to my wonderful wife, who went to China in her youth, 1984, wasn't it? She said. So, I mean, you imagine how different it is from what she saw there.
Oh, just a different, I don't know, no reference points at all, I don't think.
No. But I think it's just such a great story. There was one long journey she did in a minivan with a load of Australian gymnasts and circus performers. It's very hard to see. The culture clash must have been fairly big.
Huge.
But they had all their windows with newspaper paper,
so they couldn't see out.
That's so weird.
That is strange, isn't it?
And it was like a long drive. It was like 7 or 8 hour drive.
I mean, it's only, I say only 40 years ago. It's not that long ago, really.
Yeah, no. I've found some photographs. There's of course, no one had a camera then, or very few people. There are 1 or 2 pictures of her that we found in Australia of her just standing in a street looking weird, because she's got goth hair and like massive red lipstick and weird makeup.
So she really
surrounded
stood out.
by 1.25 million Chinese children. They're just all staring up at this absolute freak of nature. What I wanted to tell the Chinese cultural attaché is, yeah, she looks weird in Europe as well, and Australia. Yeah, she was quite a sight in her youth.
Probably wouldn't stand out like that anymore. Blend in.
No, not so much now. No, and she didn't have any piercings or tattoos. So what the hell? No. She was just a middle of the road, middle class woman. I really hope you enjoyed that. It was great fun to do. And it was so lovely that we actually, because I'd had that car for about a week, and we actually got some actual sunshine for the first time ever when we were driving it. So we actually took the roof off and did it. It's the only time I took the roof off the whole time I had the car. I had it for a week, and it was grey and raining for every other single minute that I had it, which is kind of frustrating. It's what two-seater open-top sports cars are all about. That's all. Please do join us again next week for another fabulous episode of the Fully Charged Show podcast. But for now, as always, if you have been, thank you for listening.